Greetings to you all, and welcome back to Let's Play Micro Machines here in my bathtub. So we're back with the powerboats. It's going to be a little more difficult than last time when we were in the powerboats because the enemies this time actually want to race against us instead of saunter somewhere near the back. But still, not too difficult. I like the powerboats. I think the levels are pretty simple. One hazard we're getting introduced to here, the whirlpool. I suppose that's supposed to be the plug of the bath. It is at the bottom middle of the level, so that makes sense. We do bounce off of these little suds that are in the middle of our track, but that's fine. Just bounce off the sponges. Now whoever's taking the bath is very keen on their rubber duckies. There's one. And can you blame them? Of course you can't. Oh, they also seem to have a piece of tubing in the middle of their bath. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Whatever it is, it's hollow because we drive through it. Here it is, it's coming up. This thing. I don't know what that's supposed to be. If anybody knows, it'd be really nice if you could tell me. Because it's looking a bit dubious at the moment, I'll be honest with you. Now another function of the bathtub levels is the walls, the bubbles. You don't crash into them, you bounce off them. And you can get round this level by bouncing off them in such an angle that you get propelled forwards faster than you can drive. Now it's a bit of a glitch, it's a bit of abuse, that's why you won't see me doing it. Also because I don't know how. But I have done it by mistake a couple of times and it looks fancy. Anyway, let's not worry about such things, let's just laugh at Emilio. Look, there we are. Top left spider laughing at Emilio. Lord, you're a comical chap. We shall move on to the second of the sand dunes levels. Now I don't like this level, I think it's fairly tricky. If you've never played it before, it's certainly going to catch you out a couple of times. It will probably catch me out a couple of times because I always fall for the same tricks over and over and over again. That's my style. That crossing there is a rather tricky one because if you mess it up you go in the water, which means a long reset. And there's one down here, there it is, that sand dune. If you overcook that corner and just attack it a bit too fast, it knocks you up into the air and throws you miles off course and takes you ages to get back to where you were. Sand levels do have a tendency to just drop in nasty hazards all over the place. This is a good example. And, well, you know, what can you do? You just got to be careful. A lot of Micro Machines is about knowing the map, track rather, and a lot of Micro Machines is about being careful. It's kind of odd in a racing game, but it is. If you drive carefully, chances are you'll win. Because the computer actually makes mistakes, which is nice. It's a nice touch. Often see the computer going, you know, just too fast into the water, that kind of thing. Ooh, we're very lucky to get around that, but we'll take a bit of luck. So we go through this footprint once more. That foot must be tiny compared to the size of the car, which is minuscule. And we are going to be winning another race. I think that's number 9, which will take us on to our third extra life chance. Pretty sure we've won everything. SAHARA SANDPIT seems a little overdone, considering how big it must have been. And Jethro has finally had enough as he bobs off into oblivion. Emilio's very pleased with himself. Joel, less pleased. So who's stepping up to the plate now? It's going to be with the wild, crazy pigtails. And here we go then, it's our final chance to get an extra life. This one I consider to be the in-between before the extra lives, the middle one. Not the hardest, not the easiest. Don't know how many times I need to explain what I mean by middle. I think I've done it enough now and you've got the drift. Now this is the hardest of the tracks. Well, I say hardest, it's the longest of the tracks. However, you get an incredibly large amount of time to do it. Whereas in the first trial, it was not that long, but basically you had so little time that if you made one mistake, you've lost. This one gives you time for plenty of mistakes, which you'll make, but you can probably still make the course in good time. Well, barely. Just barely is in good time in my world. That's the trap I was looking for and completely went straight into. That's a rather tricky little chicane there, because it does position you perfectly into the water and need you to turn immediately. But then you're pretty much home dry once you've made it past that bit of the level. You just navigate your way through some rocks. And you notice I've cleared it with 12 seconds to spare. Can catch you out that one if you try to go too fast over the first part of the level. And that water segment can catch you out also. But if you know what you're doing, you're absolutely fine. Now then, we're playing with the helicopters. First time we're going to see the helicopters. Choppers is the game I used to call them, because helicopters is too fancy. Let's go with choppers. Now I consider the choppers to be quite easy, because the tracks are incredibly simple for the choppers. I don't know why, considering they're one of the last vehicles you see in the game for the first time. But the tracks are incredibly basic. Look at this one. I'm already in the lead. The computer drives like a moron whenever it's in the chopper, and the level's very simple. Very forgiving, very gentle, easy to control, very slow. I just don't understand where the difficulty is supposed to be in the chopper levels. But hey, if it wants to give me a break and give me an easy level, that's fine. We'll take that. Thanks for that. So about that little cabinet that we're filling up with our trophies, which are actually toy cars. There is a pattern emerging there, which you may have spotted by now. You probably have. If you've been paying attention, maybe you don't care. I'm going to tell you anyway. What you have going down the left-hand column, maybe it's easy to explain when it's on the screen since it's so close. Yes, alright, enough sulking, Anne. That's the worst sulking I've seen. What are you doing? It's like you're rubbing your fingers in a manner that suggests you want money. Ah, good grief. Anyway, here we go. If you go down the left column, you'll see all the different vehicles. Each vehicle then stretches horizontally 3 places. And then it's all repeated on the right hand side. So you can see there's 3 levels for every vehicle. This is going to be the last one for the 4x4s. So that means there's 1 vehicle we've yet to see. Most of the others have 2 to go, except for the sand buggies and the warriors. Anyway, this is the last one on the breakfast table. Fruit juice follies. Quite a long track, but still I don't think too difficult because, as I said before, the 4x4s I think are a very nice vehicle, easy to handle. And because of that, it doesn't really matter what they throw at you, you can sort of manage it, because it's, it's always compounded by how bad the vehicle is, and the vehicle is beautiful. So that will do us just fine. But a long track nonetheless, you've got to keep concentration. This one does take you a little nearer the edges of the table, more chance of you falling off and getting a big time penalty, but well, you really have to be half asleep to go off of that. Which means I'm blatantly going to do it on the next lap. Look forward to that. I will go into the orange globules blots. Splots isn't really a word, but it works nicely. There's a descriptive tool there. But they only slow you down, it's not that bad. You can endure going through some of those. And you get slowed down if you're going on the outside of the track on the Cheerios anyway, so I just sort of grin and bear that and get on with the race. Always got to turn 2 early there because the pile of Cheerios on the sides looks like the little kink you get before a corner. You may have noticed that. I can tell when the bends are coming a tiny bit ahead of when they actually turn up based on the kinks in the track. Always, if we're going to have a right bend, sways a little to the left before the corner. Handy little trick out there for all of you budding Micro Machines players. I'm sure you're out there somewhere. I do think this game could do with some more music. It has music in the menus and things, it has music at the times of defeat and of victory, but it doesn't have music in the actual levels and the races. It just lets you listen to the very powerful engines of toy cars. And I've fallen off the table, well done. Green is catching me up. But yes, it could do with a bit of music in my opinion. It's a shame it doesn't have any. I think it would have been a nice touch. But it's alright I suppose. One thing about the colours of your opponent, the colour of your opponent's car is always blue, green or red, and the choice of the colour is given by in what position they are on the main screen when you select them. There is not a colour per person, so it's not that Bonnie's always green despite the fact that she wears green clothing. It's just if you pick her first, I think then they're green, second is blue and third is red, something like that. That's probably the wrong order, but you get the idea with that. That is another race done with. Rather slow, but slow and steady, and as would have it, it's won us the race. Oh, what a clever little saying. That's going to be the end of another video. We're going to mock Anne. It's just terrible defeat pose there, and Amelia's with sad puppy dog eyes. for quite a while. But once we're finished with that, we're going to be starting the next race in the next video. Hopefully you'll join me for that, and I shall see you then.